optimistic. I think after the last couple of games, we're going to do all right.
Yeah.
I think the Ipswich game was a big turning point for us. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think so too. I think if we grab a win here, then we can have a strong chance of getting playoffs.
Yeah. Do you think maybe Norwich face a bit of a tougher test against West Brom today than they have in recent weeks? I mean, obviously you mentioned that.
Was, it's a lot more to get up excited about.
Yeah.
But they've played well recently. Seems to have discovered a bit of form, and it seems to be picking a better lineup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll do all right. 2-1, I reckon.
Yeah, good stuff. Where do you stand on David Wagner? He seems to be splitting opinion a little bit at the moment, but getting people more on side. I think
he's done all right recently, but a few wins always helps that. But even if you don't look at David Wagner, it's like, who else do you look at?
Yeah.
You can have the best manager in the world, but if you're not having to spend money, then there's only so much you can do with players.
So do you think a lot of the problem has been to do with sort of the squad then, rather than him? A lot of the blame.
I think he did. I don't think he chose well necessarily at the beginning, but I think he was getting his head around it.
Yeah.
You look at all great managers; they take a time to get to know their best formation and get the players to play from the way they want to play.
Yeah.
And ultimately, a lot of these players have been trained since they were 10 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
They should know how to play without any particular instructions from the manager anyway.
Yeah.
It's just working together and wanting a win.
Do you think this team?
That's the big thing that old Farker had. They had a real team ethos.
Yeah. Do you think this team's good enough to get playoffs?
I think they're good enough to get to playoffs. Whether I want them to get promoted or not is another matter.
Yeah.
We've seen it the last 2 or 3 times where it's been straight up and straight down again.
Yeah.
The only way you generally is successful in the Premier League is by spending hundreds of millions of pounds.
Yeah. You said 2-1. Can I have a score prediction from you?
I think 2-1 as well.
Good
Rowe's been in excellent form with signs. So
yeah.
I think Silence and Rose score.
Good stuff.
I don't know, I'm fairly confident after the last few results.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what to expect today. I think it'll be a tougher test. So, yeah.
I was going to ask, do you think this will be maybe a little bit more difficult? Do you think a lot of the form has been based on the opponents they faced?
Yeah, I do. I think they've dug in a lot more recently. If you compare it to Blackburn at home and then compare that performance to Ipswich away, I think the players have dug in more and been harder to beat. And then bits of brilliance really for the goals rather than team goals and team. We've not looked brilliant going forward, but bits of brilliance from signs and about that won us games. So we keep that going.
Where do you stand on David Wagner? He seems to be splitting opinion a bit at the moment.
I think I'd give him to the end of the season definitely, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's the man in the long term. I'm not sure he's Ben Knapper's man in the long term, but we'll have to see.
And what about this squad of players? Do you think they're good enough to sort of reach the playoffs maybe? Or
no, I think they're good enough to give it a challenge, but I think they'll have to have some players coming in January. I'm not sure they're good enough to reach the top 6 now.
Yeah. What are you hoping to see from the team news today?
I'm hoping Adam Ider comes back in, to be honest. Maybe Ben Gibson, push McLean forward 1.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, We'll be alright with that.
Can I have a score prediction?
2-2.
Well, shocking first half. I couldn't quite work out what the plan was. Creatively, we seem to rely completely on science to do anything at all. Gave them way too much room, way too much respect, allowed them to put in balls from all angles. Obviously, we seem to be confident in being able to defend everything, but it felt like the more chances we gave them, the more inevitable it was that they were going to score. And then losing Saints to a stupid yellow card just really felt like the final nail in the coffin. So first half, write that off. Just wasn't really sure what they were trying to do, and to go in at 0-0 was a blessing. Second half, can't blame them for endeavour. Clear what Wagner was trying to do, much clearer than what I felt in the first half. Bringing on the defenders, tightening everything up and hoping to nick a goal. Made perfect sense, and I had no way did I think we were going to come out with only a 1-0 defeat. So thought the lads worked well, thought the substitutions made sense, but a disappointing result overall, because I felt that West Brom were there for the taking. They weren't particularly brilliant. It was just that we stood off and just gave them too much room to play with 10 or 11 men. So I thought we could have had the 3 points today, but couldn't quite work out what the plan was.
Where do you stand on the red card? Do you think it's just one that science needs to take responsibility for?
Well, we couldn't really see. We couldn't really see a great deal from where we were, but it looked clear that there was a bit of dialogue before he kind of waggled his hand. I think it's tough, particularly for a foreign player who doesn't have all the language, to expect them not to gesticulate in some fashion. So And particularly, I think there are some referees who wouldn't have sent him off knowing it was his second yellow. Make an example if you want of someone for a first yellow, but don't send somebody off for something like that. I felt that was harsh.
Yeah. Were there any performances in particular that impressed you or disappointed you?
I thought Nunez was well disciplined. I thought he worked hard. Duffy at the back was sort of solid. Angus Gunn played well between the sticks, but and I thought Kenny gave a sort of good strong lead from the sort of depths of the midfield and around the central defence. Those were kind of the only sort of standout players for me. Didn't get too excited about anything else. Sainz I thought was fantastic until he got sent off, so big disappointment there.
You said you understood those changes Wagner made. Did you agree with them to bring on 2 centre-backs at half-time?
Yes, because it had felt like a very long first half, and I think it would have been an even longer second half to try and hold them off, particularly with one less player and particularly with seemingly our most creative player off the pitch. So I think to try and defend, it was almost a proven thing, because we got some corners, we had 1 or 2 attacks which could have yielded a goal, and we could have come away with a point. So that was coherent at least, and so yes, I agreed with those changes, and those are the reasons why.
To be honest, I think we were poor before the red card. And after that, I think it was kind of just textbook 11 versus 10. The substitutions at half time didn't feel, I think they made Wagner's intentions very, very clear, and that's kind of okay. I think West Brom weren't that great, so it's frustrating because I think there was a result there, but after the red card, it's just, before the red card was poor and it should have been better, but after that, I think it was just quite inevitable, everything that happened.
Obviously, a lot of blame will be on Sainz after that red card. Do you think Norwich would have lost the game even if he had been on the pitch for the whole game, based on how it was before he was sent off?
Based on Norwich's performance, probably, but I think West Brom weren't that great either. So whether or not they would have found the breakthrough, they didn't look, they had the ball a lot in the final third and stuff, but they didn't actually really look like producing loads of quality at any point. And to be fair, if we performed, the quality of the performance in the second half, if you transpose that to 11 players, maybe we actually do something going forward. But I don't know, it felt maybe as though it was heading for a low quality draw.
And when that goal goes in, were you sort of thinking, what now? Because obviously they had.
Felt like the game was over. At that point, it didn't really. I think most of what was left for the Norwich fans at that point was ironic shouts of handball. The goal for me, it felt slightly inevitable. It felt as if we were going to spend a long time waiting for the goal. So once it did go in, it was a bit like, what now kind of thing.